Human beings by nature are incredibly curious creatures. Hell, the whole reason why you clicked on this video was because the title or thumbnail activated some fragment of curiosity inside your brain. We are driven by our desire to learn and to understand things. Since the beginning of modern humankind as we know it, we have always been asking questions. What is the meaning of life? What is true happiness? Is there life after death? Who in the hell is Gonta? From the moment I laid eyes on this seemingly ordinary golden retriever, my mind has been in a frenzy. It's difficult to explain why exactly, but if I take you back to the beginning of the story, it may help you to understand where I'm coming from, and how this forgotten icon sent me on a journey of discovery. I run a small tech repair business, and one of my areas of expertise is restoring and modifying Nintendo Game Boys. I'll pick them up in poor or non-working condition and make them work like new. Since the old pandemic going on increased the demand for these time-wasting gizmos, the prices for Game Boy units have skyrocketed. In terms of profit margins, that doesn't help all that much. Since people seem to think that $65 is a fair price for a Game Boy Advance SP that is, literally ripped in half, I needed to find a new way to get units for a little bit cheaper. This led me to the wonderful world of importing. It is significantly cheaper to grab a non-working unit from Japan and just pay the import fees as opposed to paying the inflated eBay prices in my region. So one night I'm browsing through Mercari Japan, sifting through the thousands of listings for games and consoles and accessories when I saw it. Immediately my mind filled with questions. Who is this dog? Why did they have their own game? Was this part of some pre-established game series or licensed tie-in of some kind? Just what the hell is this? Now, most online sellers share at least the name of the item in the title of their auction, but this one didn't. It was just called Game Boy Color Game Fair Condition or something like that. I was intrigued. Now, it probably wasn't the smartest thing for me to do in my current financial situation, but I put in the whopping bid of $3 US. I was too enamored with this unknown game to let it go. There were only a few days left in the listing, and I was fairly confident that I'd end up winning, so I let it be for the time being. Over the course of the next week, I did my best to research the game with the limited information I had, but it was nowhere near enough to go off of. I really only knew, 3 things? It was a game for the Game Boy Color, it was Japanese, and it featured a dog. Yeah, that wasn't really gonna get me anywhere. Googling Japanese Game Boy Color dog game didn't yield me anything remotely close to what I was looking for. The search was pretty much at a standstill. I would check on the auction from time to time to see if there was any bit of information that I could have missed, but still, nothing. The included photo was just way too low-res and grainy for me to make out any of the copyright information, so that ruled out that possibility. With the final day of the auction upon me, I checked on it one last time a few hours before it was scheduled to end, and I was still the highest bidder. Again, I was fairly confident at this point that I'd end up winning, as I was the one single bidder for almost a week. I went to sleep that night, ready to wake up and process the transaction, but little did I know, something terrible was about to transpire. When I awoke in the morning, my heart was immediately just shattered. I was outbid by 50 cents. The other bidder had won the auction and robbed me of any chance of discovering what this mystery game was about. It's probably going to sound like an overreaction, but I was devastated. I had spent days searching high and low for information about what this game was, only for the key to the puzzle to slip through my fingers. In a desperate move, I scoured the major Japanese auction sites again and again, searching for another copy of this elusive dog game, but found nothing. I had nothing to go off of, no leads, not even a name. I reached the end of the road. I'm not really the type to give up that easily, but watching what seemed to be the only copy of this thing that I'd obsessed over for close to a week just disappear, it hurt. But I had to accept it. The dog game was gone. I did my best to put it out of my mind. It was just a video game. It probably wasn't even that fun. Hell, it was in a language that I don't even have the slightest understanding of. So, why did it hurt so bad to lose it? Time would go by and I did my best, but I just couldn't let it go. I just couldn't let it go. The poet Rumi once said, "Do not grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form." For me, it came around in the form of an idea. So, comprehensive game release lists for consoles exist online, and they're easily available for anyone to view. How could I have not thought of this sooner? There could be hope. This was going to be a time-consuming effort, to say the least, so I poured myself a cup of coffee and sat down to get to work. Now, according to Wikipedia, there were over 915 games released for the Game Boy Color. That's a pretty hefty library, but somewhere on this list was my dog game. It was here on this list, somewhere. I just had to find it. So I began looking up each game, one by one. I'd searched for what seemed like hours. Well, it was hours. I'd copy the title, plug it into a Google search, and see what would come up. I'd done this for almost, 300 titles when it finally happened. I had found it. The unknown game that had been my obsession for almost a month was displayed right there on my screen. Its title, and God, I apologize in advance for my pronunciation, was Gonta no Okiraku Daibouken, or as I'm going to call it going forward, Gonta's Carefree Adventure. I immediately found gameplay footage and other screenshots of the game, but noticed that there was almost no discussion about it online. Nothing. No forum posts, no walkthroughs, just nothing. Hell, the gameplay footage I mentioned earlier was literally the only video of the game that I could find on YouTube. But what stood out to me the most in this sea of new information was an eBay listing. A complete in-box copy of Gonta's Carefree Adventure for, get this, $21.95 and shipped out of the UK. This was it. I logged into my eBay account and clicked the Buy It Now option. It was happening. The week that had followed was a learning experience. I had some time before the game would arrive on my doorstep, so I decided to do some research with my newly acquired info. With the new set of photos that I had from the eBay listing that I purchased, I was able to find that the game was developed by a company called Upstar in the year 2000, and the Gonta brand was owned by a company called Sunrise. Sunrise is a Japanese-based pet food company, and Gonta was their mascot. From what I can tell by viewing old commercials and using the Wayback Machine on the official Gonta website, the character seems to date back to the late 1990s, seemingly popping up around 1997. From the commercials that I was able to find, the character of Gonta is a fairly laid-back dog who lives with his owners, along with his wife named Mama Gonta and his son named Young Gonta. He always finds himself in the most comical situations, like playing video games or winning the jackpot in a game of pachinko. One that actually made me laugh pretty hard was an ad where Gonta and a beagle are sitting together in a bar. A mystery girl buys a plate of dog food for the beagle, and it's revealed that she's quite attractive. A mysterious girl then buys a plate for Gonta, making him excited to see how cute she'll be, only for it to be revealed that she's far from it. Gonta is shocked and says something along the lines of, "Oh, don't make eye contact. It's such a simple setup, but it works so well." There's another one that had me laughing pretty hard, where Gonta and another dog named Blackie are playing a video game, and Gonta is getting his ass kicked pretty badly. In a last-ditch effort, his character uses his secret technique and just farts in Blackie's face. I'm not really sure why I found this one so funny. It's most likely because I have the sense of humor of a 12-year-old, but this one got me pretty good. So this dog character that had been my obsession was a pet food mascot. It was beyond relieving to finally have some context for this mystery character that I'd first discovered almost a month ago at this point. All that I needed now was the game itself. The final piece of closure to my mystery would be in my hands in just a few days. The email that I'd received on the morning of June 17th was enough to get me out of my bed way earlier than normal. My package was delivered and it was waiting in my mailbox. I got the box opened right away and there it was, my holy grail. Gonta's Carefree adventure, complete in box with the original instruction manual. I had wasted no time. I put the cartridge in my Game Boy and flicked on the power switch. The time had finally come. So, this is it. Gonta's Carefree adventure, and yeah, it's pretty much unplayable without knowledge of the Japanese language. Taking a quick glance at the instruction manual, the story of the game is that Gonta's son's diary was stolen by an unknown thief, and it's up to Gonta to get it back. You wander the streets of town, talking to locals and solving puzzles. Some characters even give you items that you can use to enhance Gonta's abilities, like dashing with the B button. In some areas of the map, Gonta is able to play mini-games like rock, paper, scissors, or pachinko. This looks familiar, right? Yeah, both of these mini-games are direct references to Gonta commercials. If you head to the local pub and have a seat at the bar, a silhouette appears and hey, that's another reference to the commercials. If I hadn't rabbit-holed as hard as I did, I never would have seen the source material and I would never have understood these references. For another example, the manual has a character bio page, and young Gonta's bio states that he's a fan of quiz shows. You're probably thinking that's a weirdly specific bit of information to include, but it's yet another reference to these commercials. This game is filled to the brim with these references that I feel give the game so much character, but would go completely misunderstood if this game were ever to be localized. That would be a really tough job, and I just can't see any way a company could justify doing a translation. It's sad to think about. This game is adorable and it's full of personality. It could have been a small hit and gathered a cult following, but instead this game just faded into obscurity. Like I said earlier, there is just no discussion about this game online, and I think it's time to change that. That's the reason why I put this video together in the first place. That mystery dog game that I discovered one night on a whim deserves to be discussed. Sure, the game itself isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but think about this for a moment. A team of people made this. They poured blood, sweat, and tears into this project, and now it's almost as if this game just never even existed. So this is what I've done to help spread awareness. Number one, I ripped a ROM of the game that anyone is free to play, and I'll include a download link down below in the description so you can give it a shot. It's a little beyond my skill set, but I highly encourage anyone with knowledge of Game Boy file editing to work on a fan translation of this game, and I'll be happy to help in any way possible. Number two, I took high quality scans of all of the packaging materials included with my purchase, like the box and the manual. Also, I did a translation of the instruction manuals pages into English, so that if you do give the game a try, you'll have some more context of the story and controls. You can find them linked in the description as well. And number 3, I created a playlist on my channel of all of the Gonta commercials that I was able to find. These were found scattered all across the internet from YouTube to Nico Nico, and I'll be adding to this list as I continue to find more. If you're able to find a Gonta commercial that you'd like to add to this list, you can shoot me a message on Twitter over at MrCVids with the link. It's funny, this whole project feels like my baby. I went deep into the search for this mysterious video game and discovered something hilarious and wholesome and deserving of so much more attention. It is my deepest wish that this video was able to pique your curiosity in the same way that this single photo piqued mine a month back. Curiosity is one of those things that makes us human. It drives us to ask questions and learn, and sometimes it takes you down the wonderful rabbit hole of discovery. And now I just can't get this jingle out of my head for the life of me.
Gonta no sasami ja aki. 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 Sunrise.
Well, that video took a long time to get put together. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed it. This project was such a monumental task to get finished, from, originally finding this game to shooting all the footage to finally getting it edited. It's been, I think, close to a month and a half at this point. So guys, if you're subscribed to this channel, thank you so much for your patience on this one. It has been a labor of love, and I really, truly hope you enjoyed it. A very, 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 very special thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. They're right over on the left-hand side of the screen. They are all amazing and awesome and just the best, and I couldn't do this without their support. And over on the right side of the video, you're gonna see some links to some other videos that I've put together in the past. So if you wanna see more of me, go ahead and click them. They're right there. I also have a secondary channel that I stream to on fairly often, so if you want to come hang out, have a chat, we can talk about Gonta if you're not sick about hearing it. I'll leave a link down below in the description so you can come hang out with us when we're live. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and I will see you on the next one.